Yes, welcome everyone. Dr. Naveen here from UPSC Medico. So here, this question is from the latest exam, that is UPSC Medical Sciences Optional 2020. This question is asked in paper 2, section B from uh, PSM subject and from the syllabus nutritional programs. So nutrition related topic, they have asked this question. So the question is, state in brief how dietary factors influence the cardiovascular health in adults. Okay, and uh, so till this part it's okay. Like based on the previous year questions in 2011, they asked what are the coronary risk factors. In 2014, they asked what lifestyle measures would you suggest to a person with myocardial infarction. It's a bit or a part of a complete question. Clinical question was asked about MI, and in that, the last part for 5 marks was what are the lifestyle measures would you suggest to this person. And one more question, which is a repeat, is what advice would you give to a 50-year-old diabetic male for the prevention of ischemic heart disease? So now, answering first part of the question would be very easy for you. That is, what are all the dietary factors which actually influence the cardiovascular health? I can say serum cholesterol levels, one of the important thing. Okay, and I can also say triglycerides. I can also say fatty acids, and I can also say carbohydrates also play a role. Carbohydrates are let's say fiber, which is more apt or more important to be mentioned, that is fiber. And what else? Salt, you should never miss out on salt. These are the dietary factors which might influence the cardiovascular health in adults, right? And you can write raised in serum cholesterol levels leads to increased risk of stroke, increased risk of myocardial infarction, even for cancers also. And if you want to get into more details, you can also mention HDL is a good cholesterol, LDL is bad cholesterol, it's bad to have this, it's good to have this, and all. And from triglycerides aspect, yes, they also increase, but mostly triglycerides are actually used up by lipoprotein lipase, so they are more important in diabetics, wherein the enzyme activity is decreased. So in that way, even triglycerides also have a positive negative influence on the health. Fatty acids also have negative influence on the health. Carbohydrates are actually, they have no role. Actually, people used to think that in the past they used to have this myth that increased sugar level intake might lead to increased cardiovascular disease. So but this is not correct, this is not proven. So in similar way, high fiber diet has a positive influence on health. So increased fiber diet is actually good for health, and also salt has negative influence. In such a way, I can say these are the dietary factors which have a either positive or negative influence on the cardiovascular health in adults. So if they just ask this question, it is very easy for me, based on knowing coronary risk factors, in that knowing more about dietary management aspect, and also knowing about lifestyle measures, and also advices and all. So in such a way, you can at least answer 3 to 4 marks out of 10 marks. But please, the second part of the question is very important, and that is the reason I'm discussing this question. They're asking you to highlight the specific cause effect relationship. So these kind of questions are very rarely asked, but usually 1 or 2 questions or 3 questions from each paper of late in the last 5 years is asked in an integrated manner. Integration is both horizontal and vertical. For example, vertical integration is in the same exam, in 2020. Okay, they have asked linking surgery with anatomy, more of clinical anatomy kind of questions were asked. Okay, so you need to have a surgical knowledge to answer those. So in the same way, horizontal integration is within PSM. I'm talking about nutrition topic, right? They linked this nutrition with epidemiological methods, which is also in the syllabus. So how they linked? In the epidemiology, we have epidemiological methods as the most important methods of epidemiology, but there is also a concept called association causation. Please now don't ask me why you haven't covered this in the syllabus, because this is not in the syllabus. But again, these are bouncer kind of questions. Let me tell you, man, in a competitive exam, you can't just prepare or learn everything and go to the exam. That too for UPSC medical sciences optional. You have to cut short it so that you can revise it. As I told you, 5 marks you can answer whatever we have discussed. The rest 5 marks you can, at least for 2 to 3 marks, you can cook up the answer. So I'll tell you how to do. But first I'll tell you the basic concept behind asking this question. This association causation concept, what it tells is, for example, if there is how to put this, let me take some examples so that you will understand what is this association causation. One is spurious association. People used to think that increased maternal mortality is associated with admitting a patient or delivering at home. Okay, delivery at home is associated with increased maternal mortality, but decreased in maternal mortality is associated with hospital admission. This is, yes, right, this is a normal one. This is actually normal association. But when a study was conducted, the reverse was seen. That is, maternal mortality was actually high with hospital admission. Then people started thinking, if a pregnant woman goes to hospital, chances of death are high. But this is spurious association. Why it actually happened? People go to hospital, the pregnant cases are referred to hospital, the tertiary setup, only when it is a complicated pregnancy. So we are missing this fact. So these kind of associations where hospital admission is associated with increased MMR, maternal mortality rate, is spurious association. So now I am talking about spurious association. Next kind of association is indirect association. So what happens in indirect association? For example, concept is sugar versus CHD. This is indirect association. So you can put this in the answer. How it is indirected? Previously people used to think that increased sugar intake leads to increased CHD. But smokers, when they smoke, they used to sip hot tea which is containing sugar. Actually, smoking is a risk factor for CHD, not high sugar, but it is indirectly related. So we started thinking that excess sugar intake is leading to CHD, but that is not the case. It is actually smoking which is actually provoking person to take a hot beverage or a hot sugar for extra kick. That in turn is leading to coronary heart disease. This is indirect association. But we have direct association, which is also known as causal association. To call it as a direct association or a causal association, that is, when there is a factor or a risk factor is present, it should actually lead to disease. Then we call it as causal association. Mere presence of a factor doesn't lead to causation. That is just an association. You have to prove the causation by doing some experiments, but it is practically impossible to do experiments in human beings for this fact, right? So we do some case controller cohort studies, that is descriptive studies, to find out that. But the question is not about asking you to write about case controller cohort study. It is actually asking you to tell the relation between serum cholesterol versus CHD. Similarly, relationship between salt versus CHD. Similarly, relationship between carbohydrates versus CHD. And again, relationship between triglycerides versus CHD, fatty acids versus CHD. So they are asking this lipoproteins for CHD. So how they are related? Are they? Is there any causal relationship that increased serum cholesterol is associated with increased CHD? Yes, the answer is yes. You know what are all the risk factors for CHD? I am asking in general. I am not asking about dietary risk factors. I am just asking about risk factors CHD, which we already discussed. That is modifiable risk factors, non-modifiable risk factors. Non-modifiable are age, sex, kind of racial or genetics and all. But modifiable risk factors include, one of the 4 important ones are dietary factor, that too plasma cholesterol. And the second factor, very important, is you need to remember hypertension or high BP is directly related, and it's a modifiable risk factor. And one more important thing, very important thing, is smoking is directly associated, and also very important is lack of physical activity. Okay, now I'm coming back to a more specific answer. I'm taking, this is direct question. This line is direct from Park 25th edition, Park 25th edition, page number 702. Why I'm telling you this? I never gave you a reference of a standard textbook because I used to refer a lot many books to give you a comprehensive answer. But please friends, for preventive medicine, Park is ideal and the only single source. So please, for all the topics are 8 or 9 topics, you won't be reading 1,000 odd pages from the Park. You only need to read approximately 200 to 250, but read them thoroughly. I have observed for the last 3 to 4 years, the question from preventive medicine is tricky and confusing, but actually it is a direct line from the standard textbook. Direct line. This is there in 702, nutritional factors in selected diseases. Nutrition is there in the syllabus, and within that, instead of asking iodine deficiency disorders, which are commonly asked, nutritional programs, which is like last year they asked anemia mukt bharat, instead of asking thyroid related ones, instead of asking like vitamins and mineral deficiencies, instead of asking low birth weight, what they did is they actually asked, they went into a bit of bouncer kind of question. In the last pages this was there. What was it? How dietary factors may influence the cardiovascular health. This is straight away given from the textbook. But please don't prepare for odds. Okay, rare is always rare. But what I'm telling you is, if you have a knack of preparing previous year questions, whenever they want to frame a question, the mindset of examiner is they look at previous year questions and try to frame a kind of indirect or a tricky natured question which is directly related to the concept which was asked previously. So 5 marks question you can happily answer, but the rest of the 5 marks you need some expertise and also guidance. Now I'm quoting the lines directly from the Park. So for this question, as I told you, 4 modifiable risk factors are present. That is serum cholesterol, hypertension. What is the other 2? Come on, smoking, and the 4th factor is lack of physical activity. I'm stressing upon this because this is an important question, okay, as it is appeared 3 times and this is the 4th time in 2020 they asked it. Now when it comes to serum cholesterol, out of all these 4 factors which are actually governing it, okay, there is a high statistical significance. Okay, plasma cholesterol has a very high statistical significance, very high. I can ask a PG question like this: out of the 4, which is like the direct causation, it is known to cause. There is no need to doubt it at all. There is no patient. I'll put it this way: there is no patient who is suffering with coronary heart disease, but his serum cholesterol levels are low. Hope you got my point. So the WHO expert committee accepted that there is a direct causal relationship between serum cholesterol, dietary habits, and also CHT. They call it as triangular relationship between habitual diet, like what diet you take, and the levels of serum cholesterol, and also coronary heart disease. They have shown a direct causal relationship. We call it as a triangular relationship, and this is supported by our own ICMR. Okay, and actually India is endorsing this concept that serum cholesterol is the most important dietary factor and there is a direct causal relationship. Okay, so that's it. This is what you need to know about serum cholesterol. What about other dietary factors? You are highlighting specific cause effect relationship, and there is a triangular relationship between serum creatine, dietary habits, and also coronary heart disease, right? So increased serum cholesterol levels lead to increased CHD. And next is we have other dietary factors. I'm not talking about in detail about the lipoprotein concept, okay, and fatty acid concept. These are subunits of cholesterol, right, and triglycerides. For example, even raised triglycerides will also lead to increased risk of cardiac heart disease, but raised triglycerides are somehow handled by lipoprotein lipase in the body. So that's the reason only diabetics will have this main issue of CHD associated with hypertriglyceridemia or lipoprotein lipase defects, which are congenital defects or enzyme defects. So don't worry about that. This is hypercholesterolemias. Don't worry about that. So what about fatty acids? Fatty acids, you need to understand that monounsaturated fatty acids and polyunsaturated fatty acids we have, right? Saturated fatty acids are more risk, but PUFA has negative relationship. Like it won't cause increased CSD. It actually decreases CSD. Consumption of PUFA is actually good for health. Okay, this is one thing you need to understand. And again, lipoproteins, you know, simple. HDL is good fat, LDL is bad fat. Just remember this. So I'm done with fat related stuff. I'm putting more importance to serum cholesterol levels. So that's the reason there are cutoffs. Like this is the, if it is more than 200 milligram per deciliter, then you need to worry. You have to maintain it for less than 200 milligram. Those are all not important for answer. That's just for the general sake. But what is more important is association between carbohydrate diet versus CSD. This is not direct association, this is indirect association. As I told you, sugar versus CSD. People who smoke, they take hot beverages which contain excess sugar, that leads to CSD. But CSD per se, neither high carbohydrates nor high sucrose feeding has never induced atherosclerosis, let me tell you. And fiber, it has negative cause effect relationship. That means it actually decreases the risk of CSD. Inverse association, I'll say. Inverse association. Try to highlight that. Inverse association. Now what about salt? Salt has direct association, so less than 10 millimoles per day should be taken. If it is more, there is high incidence of hypertension if you take more salt. Hypertension is a direct risk factor for CSD again, so it's a direct association. Now, you know the dietary factors, you know the specific cause-effect relationship, and don't worry about these sort of questions which are a bit bouncier ones, but try to understand what examiner is trying to ask, and just go through any related question which is asked in the previous year, so that you can at least write 5 to 6 marks. You don't need to get 10 out of 10 for these kind of questions. Okay, 6 by 10, or if you're really good, 7 by 10 is enough for these kind of questions.